Uh, Welcome to the Predator and Prey podcast, the first episode. I'm kind of at a loss for words because that's the first time I've seen that intro, and I'm like, "Woo,
It's hard to
okay,
follow that.
it is." Welcome, listeners. We are Predator and Prey, and that was strategically picked because of our good friend Ray. Anyway, here we go. Let me start from the top. I am Russell. You may know me from Tomes of Evil and Gamma Charge and Trapped in a World. In fact, this will, when it's put in podcast form, it will be on the Tomes of Evil feed. So everyone who already listens to Tomes of Evil will that'll be here. Um, as always, I have with me my co-host from Tomes and Gamma Charge, Justin the OWLF. How are you, Justin?
Oh, I'm doing great, Russell. How about you?
I am so excited.
Me too. I've been looking forward to this all week.
And after a year, I first talked about this a year ago with my good friend Ray. How are you, Ray?
Hey, I am ready to bleed, Russell. How you going? How you going, Justin?
We ain't got time. We ain't got time.
We ain't got time to bleed.
Oh, this is this is like a dream come true. It has been a year in the making. Like Russell, just our times have been conflicting, schedules and such. Fortuitous because Predator from Marvel was delayed due to some conflict, I guess, in the property. So yeah, it's worked out well, and we've got a movie to come out with it.
Yeah, and a book.
And
And a book.
a whole feast of things all in a month. Yeah.
Yeah. So just real quick, let me tell you what we're going to do on this podcast. Since I was so flabbergasted at the beginning, we are a monthly show. So every month we are going to cover the newest issue of Predator from Marvel Comics, as well as a variety of other things. We're going to talk about the films. And eventually, we're going to dive into the Dark Horse Comics library.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
But today's episode, our first episode, we will be discussing not one, not two, but three things that all came out within a week of each other.
Oh, crazy time to be a Predator fan. Seriously.
Yes, it feels like we've been fighting for scraps for years, and now we've been handed a smorgasbord.
Yes. And
but
what a lovely smorgasbord it is.
Yes, it is. But before we get into that, I thought it would be interesting if we go into our histories with the Yautja. So I guess I can go first. I'm probably going to be the weirdest one of the group because I'm the youngest. And that's not a slight because I wish I had everyone's knowledge that's in this group besides me.
Russell,
plenty. You have so much knowledge, Russell. My gosh.
I first discovered the Predator through a video game. I had a friend at school, and he let me borrow a video game called Alien vs. Predator Extinction.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yes, I think I remember that one. Which
platform
was that?
It was PlayStation 2 era.
Okay.
This was like a what you call a strategy game. So it wasn't like a shooter or anything, but it was fascinating because the xenomorphs, you had to go through their evolution. Like you had to start as a face hugger, and you had to get onto an enemy and become a chest burster and evolve from there. And the predators, there was different kind of predators. Anyway, first time I saw the Predator, I was like, that is the coolest shit I have ever seen in my life. And I soon, oddly enough, I saw Predator 2 first.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So that's probably why I have such a fondness for that movie, even though I don't think it's as nearly as bad as people say it is.
It's not.
No, it's not. I
soon followed that up with Predator 1. I saw it finally, not long after Predator 2, so it's pretty back to back. Just completely enamored with this creature. I mean, it was an alien, he was a monster, but he was intelligent. He wasn't just a killing machine. He had a reason, and I was always intrigued by the honor system, even though they are sore losers as well. But and I've just been a lifelong Predator fan ever since. Collected tons of action figures, obviously lots of comics, I've seen all the movies. I remember the first time I actually got to see a Predator on the big screen, I believe, was Alien versus Predator.
Okay. Yes.
the first one. Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, the second one. No. I have a story about that, but we'll save that for another time.
Okay.
So, I got to pay attention to the prompt sheet here. So, Justin, tell us about your old hunting grounds, your history with the Oucha, who apparently are also called the Hish.
Oh, the Hish? Really?
The Hish.
I didn't know that. The Hish.
Pretty cool.
That one's
like
that one's less common.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a certain clan, but I think Yaucha is more.
Yaucha.
That's more universal. Yeah.
Anyway, Justin, go ahead.
My introduction with the Hish began with the first movie, the original one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. My dad had a friend who loved exposing me to movies that I probably shouldn't have seen at a young age, and that was definitely one of them. I remember being so scared, like of the music, like the score in that movie.
The music is
intense.
Awesome. Yes,
but the scenes with all the skinned people and just the Predator ripping the skulls off and screaming. I remember the first time I heard that screech echoing across the jungle. It was just sent shivers up and down my spine. I was like,
"There's something out there, and it ain't no man.
It ain't no man." Yeah, but it was instant love because it was so unique. I loved all the weapons. I loved the laser, the claws, the shrieking blade, the cloak technology. It was so cool. It was unlike anything I had seen up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched Predator 2 and absolutely loved that one and still do. And I got into the comics after that. I didn't read a lot of the solo Predator Dark Horse stuff. It was a lot of like Batman versus Predator. Even I think there was a Magnus robot fighter versus Predator. I read that one.
I have that one.
That's good.
So I'm so excited that Dark Horse is reprinting all of these solo Predator stuff in this omnibus because I haven't read a lot of them, and it'll be a first time for me.
And we're in, right, guys? All three of us are in. For
oh yes,
yeah. It's going to be a godsend for this show. Even though I have quite a few issues. It's just that. But also, just real quick before we get to Ray's history, I cannot believe that the one Valiant character that Predator crossed over was Magnus Robot Fighter and not Turok.
Not
right there. That is very true.
God.
How did that never happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was about to say Magnus is a pretty good matchup for the Predator. I think just skill wise and stuff. But you're right, Turok, far out.
Yeah,
missed opportunity.
Maybe they'll do that someday.
Yeah, hopefully.
Ray, let's hear your hunting grounds.
Similar to Justin. Well, I came across it just by chance on TV when I was young, free to air TV. So I ended up just astonished by it. Just the storytelling. I mean, because like a crack squad, that's cool enough. But then this kind of unseen hunter, which I really latched onto. Like you didn't know or you didn't see them, and you saw like POVs of the UV heat vision. But then the reveal of it itself, the jungle hunter at the end, I just thought the design was just so cool. Like that would have been a make or break, I think. And but just because the design by Stan Winston was just amazing, everything kind of fit together, and it actually cemented my my take that Arnie's the king of action, in Hollywood, more back in the day. So that was Predator 1. I recorded it on VHS. I watched it quickly. I think I remember racking up 25 viewings of it. I used to be able to recite the whole film from beginning to end just because it was just so good. Then I saw Predator 2 in the cinemas with a mate, and that was exciting, but initially it was really underwhelming and I'd say disappointing, but I've found over the decades that it just dates really well, and it has a bit of the nostalgia factor, so I really just love it now. It's up there in my top 3 Predator films, and then of course being a comic book collector, collecting the Dark Horse comics as well, so I loved it. Unlike Justin, though, I did get a lot more of the solo Predator. I didn't dabble in the AVP side of things, so it was mainly the early Predator stuff, but I was very excited at AVP, and I've watched all the other. I watched AVP, I think, in Hong Kong. I was traveling at the time.
Wow!
And I thought, wow, this would be cool. But again, I was a little bit disappointed with the film when I watched it. Yeah. But yeah, that's basically it. And just love the Predator, love the look, love the relationship with the Xenomorph. Yeah. Can't go wrong.
I wonder, Ray, did they edit the film when you said it was free to watch on television? Did they edit it at all when you saw it the first time?
They did. I'd actually watched the edited version without any swearing for quite a while, and a couple of 1 or 2 second scenes which they cut out, like the Jim Hopper, dangling and his men. So you only got actually no, they did show that, but there were 1 or 2 scenes where you didn't see the entrails.
First time I saw it was on TV too.
Yeah.
So it was like, you are one ugly mother,
yes.
mother gun.
Yeah, you are one ugly mother. Yeah. It just cut short as well. And
that's fantastic.
And Hawkins' pussy jokes were cut out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeez, you got a big pussy.
A lot of his dialogue had to have been butchered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, well, I do want to establish one thing since we've brought them up multiple times. We are a Predator show, so there will be no xenomorphs.
That's right.
Shall we bleep out the name?
No. That's your gimmick.
No, we love xenomorphs anyway.
We love it.
We do, and we'll eventually do something else on that.
Yeah.
Separate thing.
Once we get through that omnibus, we're gonna have to do AVP.
We'll do something.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I feel like of the two, the Predator doesn't get as much respect. So I think we need to respect him, or it.
I agree.
Them.
Absolutely.
Completely.
The other thing I want to say is, I'm going to say this once and one time only. There's I stress to even call them a sect of the fandom.
Yes.
But
the
people bitching and moaning and complaining because a female Native American killed a predator. You can fuck off. Because and that's the only time I'm going to address that, because if something on the show is we don't like, that's fine, we can be negative then, but I'm not going to even romanticize that sect of people that just can't handle women being powerful or indigenous people being powerful. It's just anyway.
Oh, and look, Russell, just one other. I mean, I dip my toe in that. I dip my toe in some of the forums, and I take on some of these
I love
warriors
that.
Just every now and again, just to, it's cathartic almost. But
I can
you're
see
right.
that. Yeah, I can see it being cathartic.
But you're right. I mean, it's good to just air it out now, and we're mainly we try to be positive. I mean, of course, we'll be critical if we need to for stuff that we cover. But yeah, I mean, we all enjoy the character and the franchise. Let's enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
So just real quick, he's not commenting in the actual video stream, but a friend of ours, Carl D. Smith, on Twitter, is
Oh, hey,
commenting
Carl.
on the post. He said his favorite Predator anything was Predator versus Tarzan, hands
Ooh,
down.
very cool.
Ooh,
Yes.
I missed that one.
He
Is that
also said
Cubit? I think it's Andy Cubit.
it might have been.
Ooh.
He also said, saw the first movie having no idea it wasn't just another Commando movie. Blew my mind. That's what I think's so
Yes.
great.
Yep. Yep.
In fact, when I was rewatching the first one recently, and the first thing you see is that drop pod, I was like, you know what? I wish that wasn't in there.
Yeah. Well, I forgot about it. I forgot about it
Yeah.
when I first watched it. It was just like, oh, that's cool. And then you just get sucked into this whole kind of, Merc squad. You
Yeah.
just, yeah.
It's like, have you guys seen From Dusk Till Dawn? The big twist in that. I was like, oh, we're like this neo western for most of it, and there's vampires. It's like,
Yeah, a sharp
well,
left.
I think we should dive into our first topic here.
Yeah.
On
do it,
the
huh?
on the show, whenever we cover a new, which everything on this episode is new, a new bit of content, it will be called Fresh Wounds.
Fresh wounds.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm just trying to get lower than Justin. It's nearly impossible. So
low.
That was good, Ray. That was
Yeah,
good.
that was. Every time we switch segments, we should have a Predator / Billy laugh.
Ooh,
actually,
yes.
that's a good idea. Let's do that.
yes.
Yeah.
We need a sample of that. Yeah.
Anyway, our first topic of discussion, because we are going pretty much in. Well, I guess we're not. Never mind. I was going to go in release order.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we could, well, yeah.
So pray,
Mhm.
2022. This film dropped on Hulu on August 5th. There she is. The absolutely amazing Amber Midthunder. Oh
Fantastic.
my God.
Fantastic.
She was amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
I've got a little bit of a crush on her now. But
That's totally understandable, Russell. Yeah.
Understand.
but
Yeah.
sorry, Jackie. Well, let's talk about the general synopsis. We're not going to go beat by beat because we assume you've seen it if you're watching this show.
And if you haven't, go watch it. Pause
Immediately.
This and go watch it.
Both
Absolutely.
versions.
Yes, watch it
real,
twice.
real quick. I'm on 3 viewings. How about you guys?
3 as well, yeah.
I've watched it twice. I watched the first one with the Comanche dub, and then I watched it with the other
Oh, he did that first.
version
Cool.
after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna-
Nice.
So Naru is a part of the Comanche Nation. She really wants to be a hunter like her extremely handsome brother. But yeah, who this was his first role. I believe his name is
Really?
Dakota.
Beavers.
Dakota Beaver. Yeah, he was working at TJ Maxx before this.
Wow.
Oh my word!
Yeah.
Wow.
He did really for a first time actor. Seriously,
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That I was really amazed that was his first role.
He's so charismatic. Anyway, we'll get into that in a second. Anyway, she really wants to be a hunter, and it just drives her more the fact that her tribe doesn't think she can. And boy, she gets a little bit more than she bargained for when a predator shows up on Earth. It's kind of like they've went back and forth. I've heard director Dan Trachtenberg say, "Oh, it's just this predator's first time being on Earth," and I've also heard, "Oh, it's the predator species' first time on Earth." So it's like,
Yeah, I don't give much credence to because I put that down just for pure marketing. So I don't connect that with any sort of lore. I think the marketing people just thought this would be really cool because it's set in 300 years, back in the past. Let's just say it's the first time the predators. So you can take it how you will. I reckon. I like to think that it's probably it's that feral predator's first time on Earth, because of course you want to tie it into AVP with the continuity and the Mayans and stuff. So
Right. Well,
yeah.
I don't think they care too much about continuity when it comes to comics because of what happens
Yes.
at the
Yep.
end.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so so we kind of see, obviously, we see the story from two point of views. We see the predator and its title name, Prey. We should also say that the Comanche title is I can't remember how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah.
Cool stuff. You got it? Like the translation.
Well, it pops up on the screen if you have the subtitles on.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't bother.
Yeah,
It-
but I
it
have
was-
a hard
it-
time pronouncing that one. Yeah.
It was their word for the big hunt. You know how she
Okay.
says she's got her
Yes.
kumatia.
Yes. Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's like the trial, like the rite of passage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Which, incidentally, also as well, Russell, I like it how Prey, the title, is really interchangeable. Like, who is the predator and who is the prey? This one.
exactly.
So Naru actually is on her hunt as well.
Yes.
And we see it from multiple angles too. We see the animals as well preying on each other throughout this movie, which I loved.
Yeah. And I love. Okay, let's just jump into it. I think that's a good enough synopsis. I love that the predator. You can tell that it is its first time on Earth, and it's probably on one of its first hunts because it's kind of testing all the animals that it comes across. I mean,
yeah, I was a bit itchy with that at first because I was kind of like, when it came to the coyote, I was thinking, come on, I mean, you're a predator. Why are you taking on a little coyote? But if you think it through, like if you were on an alien planet and you saw these alien creatures, you've got no idea what they can do. So you're searching for the biggest and baddest prey, and that's literally what I think the feral predator does. It goes up from the snake to the coyote to the bear and to the human.
Yeah. I think it works out great because like we know from certain predator lore that they actually love it when they're wounded because
it's a badge of honor.
Yeah, they consider their scars just another trophy. And I think that like it was kind of toying with the coyote. It was like I could probably kill you really easily, but like I want to see what you got.
Yeah. Absolutely. Incidentally as well, sorry, Russell, just all these little bits of trivia because it's such a great film with detail. I recently heard as well, talking about scars. So you notice that Naru and Tabe both have scars on their left shoulder. Now, Dan Trachtenberg responded to that saying, yep, there's a reason for that. So when Comanches, they lose a family member, they scar themselves. And so that was a symbol of both Naru and Tabe losing their father.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
A great bit of trivia there.
Yeah.
I love that.
So the Predator, not nearly as technologically advanced as we've seen. Of course, this is 300 years prior to Predator 1. There's no plasma caster for the first time. No plasma caster.
Yep.
He's got
Oh, sorry, Russell.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, what is your take on that as well? Because from the comics, we do know as well, and from the novels, Russell, we know that that predators obtain weapons depending on the success and level of a hunter or skill that they reach. So predators or Yautja are generally given plasma cannons when they do obtain a kind of high level, not probably elite level of predator, but they're given it well into their blooded phase. So this predator didn't have one, so I don't know. It could either be a youngling, or it could basically just be primitive. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, I come up through a few different ways. I've kind of figured that in terms of the movie, they were just saying that the plasma caster didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
But they also said that this predator, and this is also why he looks different, is from a different part of the planet.
Yeah.
In fact, I was
clan.
watching a interview with them, and you'll get a kick out of this, Ray. They said, I think it was Dan Trachtenberg. He said, "So every predator you've seen before is from New York. This one's from the outback of Australia."
Oh, really? Really? I love it. That's great.
Oh, that's great.
Because it's so different, isn't it? Physiologically, if you look at it, it's leaner. It's not necessarily taller by any stretch, but it does look tall.
Yeah, the mask is different. The mask is so much different. Yeah.
How cool is that skull helmet? And
Yeah.
the face itself is very similar. I thought it looked similar to some of the super predators from Predators, but
Yeah.
a little resemblance, but it's still quite different.
I thought it was also kind of resemblance the original Predator design from when Jean-Claude Van Damme was in the suit.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
But just real quick, back on the fact that is he a young Predator and that's why he doesn't have a plasma caster. I think what throws that off a bit is that his claws are long.
Yeah, true.
And it's said that Yaucha, the longer the claws, basically. Well, it's kind of it kind of differentiates because in some cases it's like, okay, they don't have a plasma caster, so we'll give them extremely long claws, like in the first AVP when their claws were like arm length, but also. Like they say that sometimes they start out younglings, especially ones that have kind of like they haven't quite hit their stride yet. They'll have short claws, and I think that's why in Predator 1 that Predator had longer claws than the one in Predator 2,
right?
Because we know the one in Predator 2 is a young one from. So anyway, that went off on a tangent. But that's why we're here.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
So let's talk about the acting. Justin, you haven't got to talk much. So what did you think of the performances in general? Yeah,
I loved it so much, and I thought one of the kind of hidden gems among this cast was the mother. And there was a scene where she was working on. I think she was drying some clothing or something, and she starts beating on the rack because she's deeply in mourning of this loss. And that it was shot from a distance too. You could see just all of the anguish on her face. This was an exceptional cast. I loved all of it. I didn't feel like there was a weak member amongst this cast. Nobody really dragged down any of the performances.
No, I go ahead, Ray.
Oh no, sorry. I think that I think her name's Myers. I think she did really well as a mum. I particularly like the intro with Naru, and she's kind of working on that medicine for the chief. She's just grinding it with the rock, but she has a nice little moment, like, you know. So in like a fleeting scene, you get this relationship between her and Naru, and the fact that she's taught her all about medicine. You know, so she's she had a very limited role, but I agree, Justin. She did really well.
And that was the introduction of the orange flower, which is fictional. I might add. That is not a real flower that cools your blood. But
well, maybe it existed back then, and we destroyed it with too many cans of Raid or something.
It already has its own page on Xenopedia, so it's already.
Jeez,
that was quick.
Yeah, I was blown away by the performances. I thought Amber Midthunder just killed it. She made you go on that journey with her, and every time she failed, it felt like you failed. But you were also like, you can do it. You got this. So when she finally outsmarts the Predator, which I don't know if you fuckers out there realize that's how they always beat the Predator. Is they always outsmart it.
They don't beat them with their fists, I'll tell you that.
No, I believe I remember the Predator taking off his helmet and proceeding to beat the shit out of Arnold for like 5 to 6 minutes, relentlessly.
Just because he could. Because he could.
He could have killed him right there, but nope, he wanted to beat the shit out of him. But no, Naru, she learns from her mistakes, but she's already talented. Like, she's a great tracker. She's almost like a doctor in a way. But she applies those lessons to being a hunter.
Yeah. Well, and she also. Oh, sorry.
I'm just going to say she kind of becomes the total package by the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Russell. Because just going off your point, apart from the medicine, she's a great strategist as well. You see it where she comes up with a plan to take on the mountain lion, and Taabe comes back later. Even though she fails, he comes back later and goes, "Look, I used your plan, and it worked, and it was good." So she has smarts with her, and we know at the end with the skull helmet, she's very kind of cunning when it comes to all that. Yeah,
and she has this symbiosis with the dog too, which anybody else in the tribe had that relationship with an animal. I think she was the only one, at least, that I saw. So that was another thing that set her apart from everybody else.
One of the best movie dogs ever.
Oh man! And I heard that was a rescue animal as well.
A rescue animal,
really awesome.
And it was a problem child. They said that they said that it was really hard to work with, but they couldn't help but love it. So,
how can you not love? That? I love that dog so much.
I saw on Twitter as well. Apparently, it's very accurate to the dogs the Comanches had, the North Carolina breed or something. So again, another attention to detail from Trachtenberg.
Right. Yeah, you got to love the historical accuracy with this. And okay, we talked about Naru. We got to talk about Taabe. We mentioned how handsome he was and how great of a performance he was especially for his first ever movie. He was a badass.
Oh,
Such
man.
Yeah.
Under different circumstances, I would love to have seen him, Taabe, take on a predator, you know, just by himself. He was running rings around it.
Yeah. And I also have to comment that their relationship is so good. Like, Naru and Taabe, yes, they have their tensions at times, but they're not like a copy and paste brother and sister relationship. It felt real.
They're not nemesis. They're not like rivals. They're not constantly trying to one up each other.
Because Taabe wants her to win. Like, and he almost like he's disappointed when she doesn't, but you know.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, Justin.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just about to say he defends her against the other his colleagues when they say go back to the camp. You know, what are you doing? Because we could use her. Like, she's a good tracker. She's good with medicine. So he's always supporting her, which I loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell that they have a genuine love for each other and a friendship. It's not just a brother and sister relationship. There's also a friendship there, and they've been through a lot together. You can see that they've endured a lot of stuff.
And they work really well as a team. And it's not, like Justin said, it's not your classical brother and sister are bickering with each other all the time. Yes, they do have that one scene where they're kind of coarse with each other, but they felt real. They felt real. Well, shall we talk about? Oh, go ahead, Ray. Go ahead.
I was just about to say, look, the point of difference also as well is that, you know, at no point are we set out to think, as you say, I hate Taabe, because he's a bit of a, you know, you care just as much for him as Naru, and that's why I think it really works. His ultimate sacrifice, you know, towards the end, it really hits home, because it's not just, as you say, Justin, competing siblings. They are a team, and he's just a nice guy. Like, you know, he really looks out for her. So yeah.
The shortest tenured war chief in the history of the Comanche.
Poor guy.
Nice reference with him too when the French fur trappers cut him across the chest.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, let's talk about the fur trappers, because I thought it was a brilliant choice to keep all their dialogue untranslated in French.
Me too.
Because that puts you in Naru's head.
Yep. It makes them alien. basically. To
Right.
unless, of course, you speak French, in which case
Right.
you're just kind of listening to it. But yeah,
I when he said idiot savage, I said I got that. I got that one.
But yeah, they were good. I thought the lead trapper, and if we are to put a critical hat on, I thought like he had a pretty hammy performance.
Over the top.
Over the top,
Very
OTT.
much so.
But
Yeah.
it was still enjoyable because, the trappers, they weren't totally seen as incompetent because they were able to, to snag Naru and Tabe. But, they were larger than life. Let's just say that.
And
there were so many of them. There were like
Yeah.
50 of those guys. I was
Well-
like, where did they all come from?
not for long.
Right, the shortest lived French expedition.
But I have to say that first of all, the very hammy lead French guy is in one of my favorite scenes in the movie. We'll talk about that in a minute. But
I think I know
also,
which one it is.
I love the slow burn with them because
Mm.
within the first scene, she finds the bear trap. It snaps Sari's
True.
leg.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, that scene where she walks out and she sees all those buffalo, and my heart
Yeah.
just sank because
that's terrible.
I know what buffalo mean to, the First Nations and and I knew, I looked at Jackie and I said, the Predator did not do this.
Right.
That's not his style. The buffalo are docile, mostly. I think they will charge you, but and then she finds that is it a stogie or is it a shell? She finds something.
Cigar. Yeah, it's a cigar. Yeah.
And that tells you, okay, that's not a predator. I don't think the predator's a smoker. But so it was this nice buildup of these, to me, they almost felt like the real antagonists because
I would agree.
Mhm.
Yep.
because the predator is just being the predator. The predator has no idea. I'm like, he's just hunting. He's just yes,
I
he
hate
is. He is a villain. You know,
we've got love for the Predator here. We
Yeah.
wouldn't be doing a podcast otherwise. So there's always a bit of bias. Yeah.
and obviously there's a bit of subtext here with the Predator that is like, not only could he be an allegory for the white man taking away the indigenous people's land, he is this invader from far beyond that is trying to wipe them out, but also kind of I think there was some subtext there about him being kind of a allegory for a sexual predator because he is a big, bulky man who's fighting this woman, but he doesn't see her as a threat.
Mm.
So you're saying that he's a huge phallic symbol,
Yes.
Russell? Big knob at the top, very veiny.
I said no xenomorphs, damn it. But anyway.
Well, that kind of tracks. I mean, the arm blades get longer. The more kills that they get, that kind of tracks the whole family.
Well, I mean, we mentioned how great the mother was.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the big man himself. Let's talk about the Predator.
Yeah.
So this was, I just blanked on his name.
Dane DeLiegro.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
He's good. Yeah, I checked him up just before we started. 2 meters, 2.6, I think. 2 meters 6 centimeters, something like that. He's tall timber.
It's about 7'4" for us Americans.
Yeah. Kevin Peter Hall was taller though. Far out.
Yeah.
He was massive. Yeah.
But apparently he had to do all this blind.
Looking
because
down.
of the
He was
mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was literally looking at the ground most of the time.
Wow.
Yeah, he told Tabe's actor, he says, now when I go to swing, you better duck or it's not gonna go well.
And he also revealed a secret as well in an interview I saw. He said, if you look, you might be able to see it in the film, but they actually laid sticks, like a little trail, a breadcrumb trail for him, so he knew where to walk, so that he doesn't
Ooh.
bump into trees and stuff.
Gotcha.
So yeah, because his head was down most of the time. Yeah.
But the predator, he's called the feral predator, and he is this. He's a little bit more antsy than the predators we've seen in the past. Usually the predators we've seen in the past are very stealthy and will try their best to take things out one at a time. This guy doesn't do that. He is stealthy, but he will he takes out waves of guys at a time. And apparently that is a sign of him being kind of a newbie. He is he's not as careful. He's more bloodthirsty because he wants this first expedition to go well. So he's a little naive.
Yeah.
So the classic jungle hunter would probably disapprove of this guy, but
he still has a sense of honor, which was good, because when Naru was stuck in the bear trap, he was chasing her. He could have killed her, but decides to just walk away, which is kind of good to see. But I was trying to figure out the personality of the predator as well, because it certainly enjoys, obviously, killing. I thought there may have been some inconsistencies with the killing. I don't know if, for instance, Adolfini. So we see him in the battleground with the amputated leg, and he's pretty much defenseless, right? When he steps on his other leg and he screams out, but he still kills him. I don't know whether that's kind of like finishing off a prey that he was meant to kill, or
right.
Yeah, but
I'm sure he remembers that.
Yeah.
Also, it could have just been like it scared him. He was because
it startled him. It startled him.
He said, "Oh shit! Oh shit!"
Knee-jerk reaction. But poor Adolfini, far out, he almost made it. He played dead. He ate the flower, so he was invisible. He almost got away. I was thinking, if only he had managed to crawl into that tent, he would have been absolutely safe. But no.
Yeah. I kept thinking the rats that were chewing on the other guy's stuff. We're going to come over and start chewing on his, and that would cause him to scream out.
That would have been grisly, Justin. Come on, grisly.
Well, let's talk about this. Will kind of tie into our bullet point here of action, because there was some great action, and not just with the predator.
No.
There was the whole sequence with the mountain lion, which I have to ask, that guy that got pulled out of the tree by the mountain lion, we never see him again, do we?
No.
I think he's dead.
I think he's dead. I kind of wondered that. Yeah, I kind of wondered that as well, but I guess he's just left for dead, and
they wrote him off.
I think this is a good time to talk about what were your favorite trophy kills. What were your favorite kills, guys? Ray, your favorite?
The thing that sticks in my head, I guess, not necessarily the most flamboyant, was when the predator decapitated the guy's head with his shield. He kind of retracted it and then opened it up. That was pretty cool. There were so many though. I love the. Again, it wasn't really a kill, but I love his little weapon. It's kind of like a metal snake, and he throws it, and it actually cuts legs off, and it stings on the leg. A lot of really inventive kills. How about you, Justin?
Yeah, I think the one with the shield was my favorite too, because I wasn't expecting that. I was like, wow, there goes his head.
Yeah.
Wow,
and the tree.
There goes the tree too. And he kept using that too to great effect. It was awesome.
I would have to agree, but I have two others that are real close. Ever since Predator 2, I have wanted to see what happens when that net reaches its full.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
It squished that guy
into non-existence.
Yeah,
he was squashed. That was really cool, actually. Yeah,
and then of course,
I love that.
Of course, he just throws a bear trap on a guy's head, guys. I mean, he literally just.
Yeah, that's right. The guy's got the knife. He's going, come on.
Yeah.
He's throwing it between his hands, and he just throws the bear trap at him. There were some real pearlers.
Honorable mention for the guy that shoots himself in the head because he shoots the
Oh.
predator in the
Oh,
mask. But,
yeah. Bit tricky.
Good days off.
I like the I think the second one of the second kill from the party that kind of take Nauru. He's the one. He was awesome. He shouted out that battle cry, and he actually did good work against the predator. But he gets his arm lopped off, and then I think he gets stabbed, and then he eventually just gets decapitated. And I think he met a grisly end. He was a good warrior, I thought.
Yeah, I thought all of them gave a good battle to the predator. It wasn't like a simple
No.
they just swipe a couple of times and then they're dead. This was a definite, really good fight.
we got to talk about. I guess this is the primitive version of the self-destruct. He had those little floating mine things, and
so what was that? Was that a bomb? That was a bomb, wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah. I guess he knew he was either overwhelmed or he was done with all these guys, so
he had enough fun. Yeah, he got bored with them. So
Yeah. Any other I mean, obviously the final battle is fantastic. But
before that, the bear scene, Russell, I love.
How could we forget that?
That CGI I thought was great, and the bear. Look, for a little split second, I do admit I was going for the bear. Just like I was like, tear him another one. But he lifted the bear up above his head, so
and showered in its blood.
Yes, exactly. He's just showering. Like Nauru's like trying to run away. He's distracted just in this glory that is this blood. But that was a great fight. I mean, the bear put up a huge fight, as you'd expect.
Justin, he probably summoned the power of the Ultimate Warrior during that.
It looked like he definitely did, the way he was looking.
But it looks like he killed him by giving him a right hook. Like the bear was charging at him, and he just punched it and broke its neck.
Like it snapped his neck.
Like that's a knockout punch. But
that was
a great
another
action
great
scene.
performance too from Amber, because of the look of absolute horror on her face as she's watching this inexplicable event unfold, like this bear fighting this weird invisible creature. Like the reaction from her was excellent during that as she's watching this.
I hate to wonder what would happen if those beavers were home at the time.
Oh,
should be beaver stew or whatever. Yeah.
Beaver for dinner.
Obviously, I think the final battle kind of comes in two parts, because you have Tabe fighting the predator, and that just leads pretty much not directly, because I'll talk about my favorite scene here in a second, but but just. We'll hear their feedback later, but I think Matt and Jacob brought up a great point. They said the first 40 minutes, they're just putting you in this world. There's not a whole lot happening, but after that, it's just relentless. Like
the pace is excellent. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the pacing is great. A lot of people, there were a few people that did say, "Oh, it's a bit of a slow drag at the beginning," but at the same time, I don't agree as well. I mean, respectfully, don't agree. But that is with some of the classics as well, where you don't see the nemesis for a long time. It's all about tension. Yeah.
Halloween, Jaws, Godzilla. You don't
Aliens.
King Kong. You don't see these things until you have to build that tension. People have such short attention spans now that they want nonstop action.
Because everything's so accessible. Streaming, that you just want it now. So
and that was one little small criticism I had about this film, was that I kind of wished that the scene with the coyote and the scene with the snake had been kind of omitted or edited, in that they found the remnants of it after the fact. And I would have preferred actually to see the first time that you see the predator. I would have preferred that to have been during the bear scene.
Yeah.
And have absolutely no glimpse of it beforehand. Only these small glimpses of its handiwork.
How creepy would it be to not have seen that first scene and see that skinned snake just jiggle up? It's like, what the hell is that? It's like a tentacle. What is it?
It's a giant worm.
That was a jump moment. I got to admit.
Yeah.
I don't know quite why that snake would move after death and because I mean it's not like it had the dying quivers because it's been dead for hours at that point. But
still alive somehow. I don't know.
But yeah, the two final battles, the one with Tabe. Man, he puts up a valiant fight.
He's so quick. He knows what he's doing, and he says that as well. He goes, "Oh, what I do for a horse," and once he's on that horse, he's almost unbeatable. He's just like
like you were saying, Ray. He was literally running circles around the predator. At that point.
Yeah.
But the predator cloaks, and he calls him a cheater.
He would, absolutely.
But and his death is very reminiscent of Dylan's death in Predator 1.
Oh, yeah.
But
he also gets a good lick in after that. He stabs him in the leg.
Lets Naru get away. And we get to my favorite scene. So Naru, mourning the loss of her brother, washing away all the blood, she sees that fat French fuck sitting over there.
Yeah.
And at first she's gonna shoot him with a gun, a very special gun, ladies and gentlemen, that I kind of called before the movie was even out.
Yeah, well picked.
But she takes a rock and knocks that fucker out, and he wakes up and rats are eating on his leg, and this is the most badass scene. This French guy just yelling in French, trying to load this gun, and she's just so calm. She's putting on her war paint, and she's like, "You don't even realize that I'm killing you."
Yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't either.
Yeah, and I think she comes to that point. It's a real point of realization for her that her advantage of being the underdog and the underestimated one is her greatest weapon. Yeah. And she says something to the effect of like, I'm going to kill this thing because it thinks that I'm no threat. And I love that.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah.
So she shoots the predator's mask off after he decapitates our hammy French friend. And she sets up a trap for him.
Yeah.
And
can I say also as well, because people are wondering, the predator as well got shot at the back of their head. So I take it that it's not at 100% after, after getting shot in the back of the head. So it's a massive injury, I think. And there was that great scene of her just standing there because she's invisible to the back of his head. So no, I just wanted to get that out because, again, there were some discussions and talks later on of, how could she take on, this small girl? How could she take on a predator? She injured it significantly at the beginning. So
and also just outsmarted it.
And outsmarted it. Yeah.
I love it when she causes him to cut his own arm off. And
isn't that yes?
He doesn't roar. He's not like mad. He just looks at her like, "The fuck did you just do?"
Well, actually, I like it even better where she snaps off one of the mandibles and stabs him with it.
I think that was the best.
Yeah.
Yes, that's gotta hurt.
Which is kind of funny, relating to something we're going to talk about shortly.
Yes,
involving mandibles.
Absolutely.
But she lures him into that sinkhole. I'm sure people who saw the Never-Ending Story were having PTSD.
You're damn right we were.
But where Naru had almost died in that pit, the predator just sinks, or he floats right back up to the top, and you're like, "Oh shit!" And then
standing on his tippy toes.
She does the "Come on, do it! I'm right here! Do it now!
Kill me!"
And it seals his own fate. Now, we're kind of we're already almost an hour into this, so let's just say there's a little. What did you guys think of the final battle and the end of the movie, Justin?
I loved it. I loved it. It was reminiscent of the original movie, but it was also unique.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just perfectly shot too. The cinematography was excellent. It was really well lit. You could see what it was dark, but you could see what was happening. Like, yeah, it was just yeah. I don't have anything bad to say about that at all.
Ray?
Yeah, it was a great battle. I thought initially as well it maybe the feral predator deserved like a bigger, more grandiose death, as you kind of expect that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, it was Naru's intelligence and her strategy that got her the win, and so she just did it effectively. Just set up that skull helmet, and so I really enjoyed that. I loved how for her it was her journey too, and yeah, I can't laud this film enough because, I mean, having already watched it 3 times, it's got to say something. and then watching it in Comanche as well, just the amount of detail that's put in. It's beautifully shot. It's just, yeah, it's a good package.
Definitely.
Yeah. I loved it. I think over time this could be on the same level for me as the first film. I think it's we have that nostalgia for the first film, and there's something to be said about the first films. They can do more with the suspense because we don't in that point we don't know what a predator can do.
Right.
So the slow build of what is the predator, that will always make that movie special. But PREY is so well made. We didn't even talk about how beautiful the cinematography is for this. It's
breathtaking.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is right now it's sitting at my second favorite Predator movie, and I almost want to say it's tied. And there was a little not really a post-credits scene, but a post-credits Easter egg showing some more Predator ships coming out of the sky.
Yes.
So cool,
I love it.
Yeah, sorry, it just dangles a carrot, but also it could just leave it open-ended and just you fill in the blank.
Yeah. Well, we know that somebody's got to get that gun because guess what? It's the gun from Predator 2. Man, I lost my shit when I saw that. I was like smacking the couch. I was like, I knew it! I knew it! But I was so happy to see that gun because I was just thinking about it. I was like, okay, the gun is 1715. This is 1719. That gun has to come into play somehow, which does unfortunately make a certain Dark Horse story non-canon anymore, but that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Little slights here and there. That's fine.
I don't think the Predator franchise was ever steeped in continuity, but
that's true. Yeah, it's a work in progress, in some points.
So before we move on from PREY, well, any last thoughts before we play Matt and Jacob's feedback?
No, Justin?
No, I think we pretty much covered all of it.
Roll that tape.
All right.
Roll that tape.
Here we go. Oh, hang on. That's not it. That's not it. What's happened there? One moment. What? That's not it. I don't know why. Okay, sorry. Excuse me. Bear with me. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's fine.
I had that all set up.
I will say I don't think we agreed on a definitive rating scale.
Oh yeah.
But
what are we gonna give it?
Well, I like
Matt
your
Howell.
idea.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'm Jacob.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry. Sorry. I've got it. Okay. I'm all set now.
It's the first
That's
show.
The first one. That's the first
all right.
one.
Yeah.
So I I like the skull rating, but also, so I think we're gonna put this. I'm gonna do 2 rating scales. One, I'm gonna give this 5 out of 5 skulls,
Mm-hmm.
and I think every time that we really love something, we should put it on our trophy wall. That's
Oh, that's a nod.
that's
Yeah.
that goes on the trophy wall. So
Yeah,
Justin,
I agree. 5 out of 5 skulls for pREY. And that is absolutely going on my trophy wall. I wish that this had come out in the theater so we could see it on the big
oh, me
screen.
too, me
Mm.
too.
Yeah.
Ray,
Yeah, 5 out of 5 for me as well. Although I do have my my list of ranked best to worst. It's up there. The OG is still the best for me, but like yeah, 5 out of 5 as movies go and enjoyment goes. So
Thanks.
all right, let's hear from
Yeah.
Matt and Jacob.
all right, let's get this right this time.
Hello, I'm Matt Howell,
I'm Jacob Balcom.
and we are from the Marvel
Hello.
series Werewolf by Night, the Bronze Age horror comic, and we've also dabbled in Manwolf, John Jameson's Manwolf stories, and we are here to talk about pREY 2022. Jacob, what else do people need to know about the podcast?
Well, yeah, like you said, we basically have focused on Bronze Age werewolf comics, our first and second season. The third season right now, we're finishing up all of Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night's appearances in the Marvel comics of the 70s and 80s. And then we are going to rebrand as Bronze Age Monsters, and we're going to cover a much wider swath of horror comics from the 70s. So yeah, that's all about us. But I'm excited to talk about pREY.
Me too. So, Jacob, talk to me a little bit about, before we get right in the reactions, just a quick hit on what your relationship with the franchise is.
Well, honestly, I'm most familiar with the first movie, I think, as most people are. It's a classic. And I do remember being fairly young. I can't remember exactly when Predator 2 came out, but
1990.
Yeah, so I was 13, so I must have snuck in. I think it was R. Maybe it was PG-13. I can't remember. But I did see it in the theaters and really liked it, even though I haven't rewatched it since I was 13. I kind of want to keep that first viewing joy that I had doing it. I was aware of the other two that had come out recently, but no, I hadn't seen it. Shane Black did one, right? That was like 2018.
The Predator, yeah.
The Predator, yeah. And I heard mixed things about that. I didn't really jump on it, but seeing this prequel, seeing pREY, has kind of got me all excited about the entire franchise now, even though I know probably most of the films in the middle aren't really as good as the first one or pREY.
Right, yeah. So I've never seen anything but the first film, which I've probably seen 12, 15 times, you know, renting it on VHS tapes with my brother, and have a great love for that film, and just because of the era that it was, and guns and big muscly sweaty guys doing sci-fi horror things. That's just gonna be a hit for me. I've never seen any of the sequels, and yeah, so the only other thing I've ever seen with the Predator in it was Batman Dead End, that fan film that had Batman fighting the Joker,
right,
and then an alien, and then Predator, which is really cool. So I was super excited to hear about this project, that this was something set 300 years ago. That immediately got my interest, piqued my interest, because I'm middle-aged now, and I don't really care that much about dudes with machine guns. Machine guns make me pretty much check out of anything. Maybe it's because I'm a parent, maybe it's because it's just 40 years of it. Of action movies, they completely put me to sleep. So this concept completely intrigued me from the get-go.
Yeah, me too. And I was really intrigued by the amount of press that this movie has gotten for a lot of different reasons, but like my wife was familiar with it. And I mean, there's tons and tons of stuff that came out about it. And I think it's just because people were so excited for many reasons. I mean, an all indigenous cast, just the director, what is it, Dan Trachtenberg?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, people dug his movies that he did. I wasn't. I mean, I'd seen what's 10 Cloverfield Lane, right?
Yeah.
Is a big one. I've seen that, and it was okay.
Yeah.
You know,
I've
I
heard good
wasn't.
things about it, but not like raves.
No, I wasn't blown away by it, but holy shit, man, I was blown away by this. I could
Really?
not. I couldn't believe how much I liked it.
My 2-word review would be woke trash.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, people. I was I was super excited about this. This seemed to me like something that would be reserved for a Dark Horse comic, like something where they would say we could never just gamble and just go and tell this story 300 years ago in this, completely different setting. Like that's something that's too big of a risk. So I was really impressed that they actually ran with it and had the plums to do it. And not only did they do it, they nailed it. I was blown away by it.
Yeah, well, just the production value, like the first 40 minutes is there's not as much action as, I think after like the 45 minute mark, it's just continual
Unrelenting.
gore and action right from then. But for that first half hour, I'm like, I couldn't believe it how gorgeous the cinematography was. I couldn't believe what the production value was and just how much care went in to recreating, a Comanche encampment and all these. It was really, really impressive. Like I was totally blown away.
The music was super impressive as well, and all the stuff where there's vocalization, I thought was really moving. And like you, I really dug that first 40 minutes, getting to really know Naru and her position. It's just you're gently laid down in her world. You're alongside her, living her life with her for a bit, and just kind of getting the pieces to figure out where she fits in this world and what her role is and what her role is supposed to be. And by the time things go sideways and the bloodletting starts, you really do feel embedded with her. Like I felt like she was, she's a perfect leading character. I completely loved her. The actress, I believe it's Amber Midthunder, is amazing. I mean, she sold this thing for me. Everybody was good. All of the acting was good, but she in particular, just grand slam performance.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, and just how her and the other actors were filmed. Like I just kept thinking to myself, I'm like, this is a Terrence Malick movie.
I know.
I was like, what the shit? Like you don't expect a Predator prequel to be like this meditative dream state choreography and cinematography, and it was just oh my god, I couldn't believe it. But I totally agree with you. Amber Midthunder was incredible. Like she really, really sold the movie. But also the actor who played her brother was really, really great.
Yeah, I loved him too. I hope I see him in more stuff as well. I hope all of this cast gets more work. The people that the leads, super impressive. I just watched it for the second time today and was not let down at all. The spell did not dispel. It's still magic. So that's super exciting. I think that they've already started pre-production on a sequel in this world, which I don't think is necessary. But I understand going back to a well that's producing water. So I guess it's Hulu's biggest premiere they've had on an original property.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I totally understand why. Like, but yeah, I mean, the press that this has gotten, deservedly, it's just gotten glowing reviews, and everyone loves it. I haven't read one negative thing about it. And yeah, it was Hulu's most popular thing ever. So, and in the end credits, there's a little tease that the story might not totally be done. So
I didn't watch all the way to the end.
Oh, okay then. Well,
I guess I better.
Yeah, you'd better, because they did leave the door open.
Okay. That is very cool. Do you have any, like, I only have like one nitpick, and it's not even a nitpick. It's just kind of a, the concept of, I mean, the title is clever. Just being pREY as being the counter to what the series is. And then at the end, you're left with the question, who actually was the pREY? Because this was her first hunt. So it's a great title, super clever. But there was a couple little visual things that I probably wouldn't have noticed as much in comic books form, but when they did the kind of telescoping out of like, here's an ant, and then this creature comes and eats that ant, and then this bigger creature comes and eats that, and then the predator kills it. Like, I get it. Like, that felt a little heavy-handed to me, but other than that, I have no criticisms of it.
No, I don't either. Like, yeah, I was having such a great time watching it, and you know, my wife Alicia was in the other room, and she had read tons about it and was just like, oh, that sounds so amazing, but she can't deal with really any violence, and so I was just like, yeah, you probably shouldn't watch this. But really, like, for the first 40 minutes, there's really not that much violence. And so she had kind of like ended up hearing that there wasn't too much violence, and it kind of moved into the room. And it was right as so we're cool with spoilers on this, right?
The guys said we can spoil away.
Okay. So it was right before Naru's brother gets killed.
Oh God.
And so Alicia walks in the room and literally is like, hello, who is that actor? And then he just gets eviscerated.
Oh God. Is his name Tabe?
Yeah, Tabe. Yeah. But she's right. He is insanely handsome. So yeah, that was that made me laugh a lot.
So yeah, this was not I don't know, you know, I feel like I heard about this during COVID when it was in production and thought it was really cool, like we said in the beginning, and then was just waiting for the other shoe to drop, which is Indigenous cast and a woman being strong. So I was just waiting for the jackboots to come of the Comicsgate people, and whatever the fandom menace, whatever the hell they call themselves, and they were the day it came out, these searing reviews on Twitter were coming out about how this is, like I was joking earlier, woke trash, you know. Then people assuring us that they were good faith reviews. This is, I'm not here about this, but it does actually just suck as a movie, like. You know, just saying, like, despite all the woke stuff, I put that aside and just looked at it objectively, and it's still a bad film. So, yeah, there was just a golden shower of these morons hating themselves in their life and wanting everyone else to hate their lives. And I could tell it was good just from the way the trolls were reacting to it. And at least they didn't review bomb it like they do a lot of stuff. Like Lightyear Lightyear has some flaws in it from what I can tell, but it feels like it got a little review bombed. And I think this one, it's like they couldn't get around it. Like, too many people are like, it's actually good.
Yeah, I don't understand how trolls could even straight face say this is a bad film. This is it is the exact opposite of a bad film. I can't see anyone not liking this movie, honestly.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, unless they're just a Comicsgate fucking moron and just can't get past whatever. Yeah, whatever. Ugh, those guys are bullshit.
So it's a claw up from me.
Totally a claw up from me. I thought
all the way up.
All the way up. No, this is one of the best films I've seen in a couple years, I honestly think. And I did not expect that. I mean, I'd read good things about it, but you, like I said at the top of this, you don't expect a Predator prequel to be so beautiful and moving. Like, I didn't expect that one. That caught me by surprise a little bit.
I watched it at the beginning of the week, and I was like, I want to tell Jacob that he's gonna fucking love it, but I don't want to set him up, so I'm just gonna let him watch it. So I'm glad that we both had the same reaction.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Well, Russ and Ray, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to give our reaction to it. That was a delight.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
All right. Yeah. Check out the Werewolf by Night podcast. And we're going to rebrand soon as the Bronze Age Monsters, where we just talk about 70s horror comics. Thanks, folks.
Bye.
Thank you, Matt and Jacob. That's
delightful feedback.
I love hearing
thoughts.
from those guys because they're film nerds, and this is a film.
Yeah.
This is
Well, they
not.
both loved it. They both loved it.
This, like, they kind of said, like, this feels like a film, not a movie, not a sci-fi action horror movie, although it is that. But there is, like, some depth to this movie. Anyway,
And I like the appreciation of that because what Matt said, you have the fandom menace and all that, trying to make something of it. And it's kind of like, oh, it can't really. It's actually good. So, I like
what I
hearing
don't
that.
understand about them is why are they okay with Sarah Connor and Ellen Ripley, but they're not okay with Naru? Is it
Well,
because
probably they weren't in the beginning. Probably in the
Mm.
beginning they weren't, but over time
True.
they've softened to that. Probably in 20 or 30 years they'll look back on this movie and be like, "Oh yeah, Naru was actually really awesome."
are you
Yeah.
Sarah Connor? No, but
So just got a couple of wanted to acknowledge our friend Noel. Justin gives it 5 quacks, and he did. And he did send that a bit earlier as well. Thank you, Noel. Quack quack.
I know.
that's mean. Don't make me call Dr. Bong.
Oh,
But anyway, well, let's move on to our next thing because
Mhm.
we're running low on time.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's talk about Eyes of the Demon next because I think we can get
Okay.
through that pretty quickly.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
So we're going to talk about the first 3 stories from Eyes of the Demon, and one of those was really short, so that won't, So first off is The Titans by Tim Leben. And I don't know about you guys, but this was the perfect start for the book. I was immediately gripped by Jeremiah Beck.
Yeah.
So Jeremiah Beck was a part of this these Marines, not colonial Marines, mind you.
Mhm.
And he had killed quite a few predators in his day, but his battalion was sneak attacked by a tribe of predators led by our first of many female predators in this book,
There's a lot, yeah.
Luna.
Yes. I think I was most happy about that. We just start off with a female predator.
Yes.
Yeah. It was such a good story, though. A
Mm.
great way to kick things off because I loved the fact that he was 70, basically 70 years
Yeah.
old. We're talking about it's past his kind of sore and, he wants to have a nice, peaceful life. And this kind of literal, well, like a ghost coming back to haunt him from his past indiscretions. It was a really, in a weird way, it was kind of like touching as well.
Yeah, it was. It
yeah,
also did it give you aliens vibes because he had been in hypersleep for
Oh, yes. it
Yeah,
did.
with the pod.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
picturing a lot of that in my head when I was reading.
I was like, this sounds like aliens when Ripley woke up 50 years in the future
Yeah.
or whatever. But
Yeah.
but I guess he aged while he was in there because they said he's 70 now.
Yeah, he must have aged a bit. Yeah.
But he has this quiet, peaceful life on this. It's like a space station, or is it on a planet? I think it's on a space station.
It's like
right?
a
think it's
space.
space.
It's like a space port. So it's
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
like a.
He's a librarian, but no one seems to care about his books. They just want to hear about all the predators he killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But he builds a
Li-
relationship with them, even though he may not know their names, because there's one where he sees that female, she's gutted, but
Yeah.
he just knows that she's the one that likes reading 20th century history books.
Yeah.
She
But,
was the one with the gun. Yeah.
but
Yep.
Luna shows up, and they just have an awesome fight. And
This is a great duel to the death.
it's so tense. It's so back and forth. And like it's like I read the audiobook version because that's works better for me while I'm working. But and the last 5 minutes,
Oh,
insane.
really good. It is really good.
Because they're both bleeding, dying, and Luna starts messing with that wrist computer, and he's like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
am I far enough away?" And he's like, "I know I'm not," but then she just kind of
She
loses.
died. Yeah.
Yeah.
she kind of gives up. I mean, like her
Yeah.
fingers are mangled because through the,
Yeah.
the battle, so she
Yeah.
can't actually work the console, and it's just really kind of bleak. And the way it was written was so beautiful. There's one bit that sticks with my mind. I can't replicate it, but it's something like that woman that got gutted or something. She dropped the gun, and the gun became an island, like in a pool of
In
blood.
a sea of
It's
blood,
like, in
yeah.
a sea of
I
blood.
love
It's just
that.
so kind of descriptive. And then just the last sentence is about like they both look at each other as both warriors kind of go into eternity. It's really, really well.
I also
written.
loved how he described it to Bindi. They were talking about maybe you don't win, and
Yeah.
and he said, like, it doesn't matter if you beat them. That just makes them want to come back. They get more
Right.
honor for you, more respect, so they just want to kill you even more.
Yeah, I love that little window into the Predator because it makes them unrelenting. Like you can do the worst to them, but they'll be go, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. And that chase scene at the end was so unrelenting and so
Oh, yeah.
with the blast coming out, and every time that the blast came from the shoulder cannon and flipped the vehicle over, I could totally see that in my head. All of it was really good.
And she must have, like, Luna must have some like rage and motivation as well. She waited decades to come back, and she's
50
older as
years.
well.
Yeah, she's aged
older
as well.
and-
Yeah.
she's just coming out. I think Beck played it perfectly at the end, like when he raised his hands in surrender. Like that's really something that Predators, I guess, still want to see because they want a fight, a fair fight.
Yeah.
Right.
So although she does skewer him and kill him, he still, even though he's kind of hurting all over, he still keeps his hands raised to give that surrender pose.
Yeah.
And I think he did it really well.
And then slits her throat while she's laughing.
Yeah.
Again, outsmarting the Predator. Getting
Yeah.
them close enough to think that they'd won.
So Ray,
And then,
sorry, Justin.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
So Ray, rating, how many skulls would you give the Titans?
Off the top, just kicking off the novel, I'm going crazy again. 5 skulls. Tim Leben, I think he has written some Predator novels well. He knows the lore, and he just painted this beautiful kind of futuristic sci-fi world for me. So, yeah.
I'm going to give it 4 just because I wanted more. Like, I think they should have. I know it's a short story and it's anthology, so they can't really do that. But there needed to be more of a build-up. Like maybe let him get through more of his day before Luna shows up. I don't know. I'm going to give it 4, and it's because I just don't think it was long enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
Justin?
Yeah, I agree. I give it 4 too. Because I actually wanted to see more of Jeremiah's backstory besides the Predator stuff and the stuff that he had done during his time with the Marines and all that. Because he talked about all of his Predator war stories, but not about the other things that he did. And I thought that would have been good to give another glimpse into his character and his past.
Yeah. Our next story was The Distance in Their Eyes by Stephen Graham Jones. This was the short one. And in the little intro part of the book, they said that one of the things they wanted to do in this was introduce new creatures. And they did. So this one, the Predator shows up on this planet with these aliens with huge eyes and crazy wingspans, and they don't fight back. So I was like, why is he killing them then if they're not fighting?
They must, true. I don't know, because they end up to be a lot more of a handful than you initially think. So so to me, like, he takes the leader's skull and he's like, oh, I actually don't think this deserves to be on my trophy wall. So he kind of puts it in the trash bin, kind of. And a few days go by and the skull is just gone.
Disappears.
And that's when he's like, all right, we got a hunt on our hands still. So and this creature is like reality warping, it's
strange.
It is. This felt like a Twilight Zone episode.
It did, yes.
And like, so this thing hatches on the Predator ship, and he's gonna blow it up with his computer, and it like looks into his soul and like clouds his mind. It gives him the old shadow.
Mm. Mm.
And says this was a good hunt after all.
Yeah.
So this one's really strange. I liked the fact that they tried something new. I would have liked a little bit more info, but I think that was the point, to keep it kind of ambiguous. I'm
Yeah.
giving this 3 out of 5 skulls because I like the concept. I just don't think there was enough of it, enough information. But again, maybe that was the point. Justin?
I'd give this one 4 out of 5. I loved the weird, unique alien, but like you, I had a problem with the whole impetus of the Predator going to this planet in the first place. Why did he kill this leader when it had no offensive capabilities? It didn't have any weapons. It didn't pose any threat whatsoever to the Predator. So why did he just kind of callously kill it, as one would do swatting a fly?
Yeah.
When that isn't really the Predator way.
No.
Yeah.
Ray?
I give it a little bit harsher. I gave it a 2.5, like just down the middle. It was something. It wasn't what I was expecting, and I, similar to you, Russell, I admired that tried something different. And maybe that other alien was quite interesting, but I don't know. Maybe because I don't know. Maybe because it was short and it was just really kind of a little bit weird. Not that I don't like weird. It compared to the others, I think it was just less enjoyable. But yeah, it
felt very dreamlike. It felt, yeah.
I think that was one of the reasons I liked it so much, to be honest with you, because of that dreamlike quality. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the big one here. So, Aftermath by Bryan Thomas Schmidt, who also edits the book.
Mm-hmm.
We get a direct follow-up to Predator. Major Dutch Schaefer, he's suffering from some radiation poison type things. He's in this military hospital, not exactly of his own volition. And okay, first of all, I'm reading the audiobook, so I'm just listening, and I hear Major Dutch Schaefer, and I was like, yeah! And then I was like, and then 2 men walk in, and he's like, I'm Peter Keyes. And I was like, oh!
I know. How cool is that? And Garber as well.
Fuck Garber.
He's a bit of a dick.
I love it.
So basically, we get this intermediary between Predator 1 and 2. Arnold, obviously, or I should say Dutch, has some PTSD for sure.
Understandably.
And he's not wanting to talk to the feds at all, obviously. He's done with government. They lied to him. And Keyes is trying to get all this information out of him, and it's very tense. And, like, I can't do it justice just talking about their back and forth. Because, yes, I was listening to the audiobook, but I was hearing Arnold and Gary Busey talk to each other the whole time. It's like,
I could even hear Arnold go, "Fuck you."
Well, there's a bit in there when Dutch has to put on an American accent.
Yeah,
he's in that diner. I was just trying to figure out Arnold trying to do an American accent.
Yeah. But we have a side story going on that converges into the main story, and I absolutely loved this view into the life of a young Predator. So there's this young Predator. It was Yauri. I can't remember its name. I should have written it down. But he's just trying to make his mom and dad proud. His dad's like, he's got the family blood in him. and
a Predator coming of age story.
Universal.
At first, I was like, this is kind of strange having the Predators talk. but like you get used to it because it's in the whole book. Obviously, they talk to each other in their own language.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so that immediately set in dread because this story made me worry about this young predator because it made him so endearing. The line that stuck out to me that made me laugh so hard but also warmed my heart is when this young predator is hunting and it says he chittered happily.
Yeah, they use chittered a lot, don't they? Yeah, because it is kind of like what they do.
Yeah.
And Dutch is, well, I say this, touch wood. Dutch is kind of untouchable. Like, he's the original protagonist. He's almost like he's a Mary Sue. So I was worried. I was worried about the young predator because there's no way that Dutch would get hurt. But you never know. That's all I'm saying. So that was good. That was really good.
Yeah, Dutch escapes from the hospital. Keyes goes after him. Dutch is going after the predator because the news reports that there's a rogue hunter who is removing spines and not eating or shooting them. And he's like, "Oh, son of a bitch!
Son of a bitch! That's one ugly motherfucker."
So they have this big glorious fight while Peter Keyes and crew are just like, grab him! Finally, Daddy Predator shows up and saves the day and rescues him. And I was like, oh, thank God! I did not want that little guy to die. And Peter Keyes kind of asked Dutch to join the dark side, and he's like, "Fuck you!" And this is when Dutch actually references his brother from the Dark Horse comics,
of course, the New York cop.
Yes.
What was his name? John or?
I can't remember. I know Dutch is Alan, so
right.
Yeah, John Schaefer. Yeah.
John Schaefer. Yeah, that's from the first Predator mini from Dark Horse, Concrete Jungle. So I'm giving this 5 out of 5 skulls. I loved it. I loved every part of it. And it really helped that the person reading the audiobook did an Arnold impersonation for his dialogue. So it was great. Ray?
I got to agree with you. 5 out of 5. It was just something so special to see, to read the characters that you saw on the screen come together, bring 1 and 2 together. Peter Keyes, just creepily cool with his questions to Dutch, and you can see that with the Gary Busey kind of portrayal. The action was great, and this was the first example of the meshing of the two POVs. So we get the human side of things, which we're more accustomed to, but similar to Chapter 2, we now get the POV from the Predator as well. So that it mixed both of them in, which I think was great, and they do that in the later stories.
A lot of stories going forward.
Yeah, which I think it works the best because you basically get both perspectives. Yeah. There are some good stories that are just solely Predators as well, but I like seeing both. So yeah, 5 out of 5.
Justin?
Same thing for me. It's a unanimous 5 out of 5. I thought he had a great grasp of all the characters' voices, and it was I could picture everything in my head very vividly as I was reading it, and it was fantastic. I kind of wanted to see more of this father and son predator duo. I'd like to see another story with them, like on their next adventure somewhere else doing something.
Sounds like this one's going on the trophy wall.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the reason we're here, pretty much. Marvel's Predator #1 delayed for a year thanks to some lawsuits. This is Day of the Hunter, part 1 of 6, written by Ed Brisson, art by Kev Walker, colorist Frank D'Armata, and letterer VC Clayton Cowles. I think Ray's going to show us some of the variant covers here.
Yeah, I am.
Ooh.
There are 25 variants, but
Oh,
you know,
Lord. Oh my god.
but I'll just go quickly through some of
Yeah.
them. A lot of them, a few of them are virgin covers, so you don't,
Yeah.
you know, they're doubling up.
And a
Let
lot of
me
them are no, those were for the I was thinking the Marvel Heroes ones.
Oh
were
yeah, they're
that was for
other-
their own book.
other
Yeah.
series. Yeah. So this one I'll run through quickly. There are 17 of them. This is the standard regular cover, which looks beautiful in its own right. Then we have the camouflage cover. That's a ratio. Yeah. That is a
That
camouflage variant.
sucks. That
1 to
sucks so
200.
much. No, that was
I like that one.
This is a 1
Yeah.
to 25, a brown variant. Looks pretty cool. Now this is a one. I think it goes for $80.
Oh
where
my
I'm from.
God.
So
Wow.
this is a 1 to 50. This is a tan variant. And we have another one. This is 1 to 500. This is an Inhuic Lee variant. So
Yeah.
he's done plenty of covers in Marvel. This is a cool one from Bjorn Berens.
I like that.
And that's quite I think that's a limited variant as well. David Finch
Oh,
comes back here
Iron Man's. Yeah.
on the
Iron Man.
Avengers Tower.
on top of Avengers. That's great. He
That
draws
was,
a great
I think,
Predator.
Was this not the first image they released?
Yeah, one of the first.
when they announced that Marvel was doing Predator. I think that was the
Yeah.
first image.
And that's I had to snap that one up, so I've got that
Yeah.
one as
Oh, good. Good.
this
That
Gabriel
one's cool.
Gabriel Del
Yeah, I like
Alto.
that one.
Very cool artist as well.
Ooh,
we
I
have
like that one.
Jay Anacleto. I've not heard of the artist, but it looks really cool as well. Then we have Ken
wow.
Lashley. I mean, these covers are great. I mean, they're such artworks in them. So this is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Lucio Perillo. It reminds me of very Dark Horse kind of like
Yep.
covers. Dave Dorman, I think was his name. Also, we have Miko Suian, no stranger to Marvel. Looks pretty cool.
That's a nice one.
This one's a nice one too. This
Oh,
is a
wow.
Raza. This is a C2E2 variant.
I really like that.
Very cool. And he's got another. Oh, not.
Oh.
This one is Momoko, Peach Momoko. Yeah,
I love
so-
it.
Yeah,
That's
very,
great.
Very cool. Where's the other? I'm not right. This is Ron Lim. Ron Lim.
Oh.
He's Cosmic
Ooh.
artist.
Lovely.
Yeah. Now this is.
That's
the
my
other Raza.
favorite. That's
Oh,
my
my
favorite.
word.
I've picked up that one as well. I love that.
Oh,
Off the
you
night
got that
scope.
one too, Ray. Oh, I
Yeah,
love
the
it.
night vision. So it should be easy to get because I don't get the expensive ones. They're pretty hard to get.
Right.
And finally, Scotty Young. So those are all the covers.
Nice.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we should go into a full synopsis or
Oh, I think just reactions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
we can return back to it if we. I mean, because this is a big bumper first episode, right?
Right, yeah.
Maybe
We've
if
got
there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got 5 more issues to go in the story. So
Right.
We can,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
yeah.
we were introduced to Theta.
she's great. I like
She
her
is
as well.
great, and it's really 2 stories in one because we have her present day where she is in Predator armor and is basically a Predator serial killer.
Yeah,
She's hunting the hunters.
hunting.
Yeah.
She's a hunter.
And she says I hope when they're tossing and turning at night that they're having nightmares about
Yeah.
me.
She's the
Ooh, I love
boogeyman.
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But we get her backstory, which is brutal.
Oh,
Oh, my
brutal.
god.
This is harsh stuff.
I laughed
doesn't-
at
sorry.
I loved it and it was very scary, but I laughed when they got back to the base and that guy was like, "What's going on?" And then
His head just goes off.
Well, it's not long. Like we get introduced to
Yeah.
the parents, but then the dad just straight away just gets
Immediately.
whacked.
yeah.
And then, as you say, they go back. Well, let me just bounce here. They go back to the base, as you said. Sorry, just jumping here, and there's that guy.
Yeah,
his,
right
head's
there, yeah.
his head is gone. But at the same time, it's like on present day. So we see Theta grown up, and she's hunting a particular predator, which we find out is the one that murdered her family and the whole kind of colony. And as you mentioned, Russell, earlier on, it is missing a mandible. So that is one of the defining traits.
And there's a reason he's missing a mandible, because Theta cut it off.
Yes. Well, the mum did, right? Francesca?
No, Theta did. She was holding the machete.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hang on, let me-
keep going.
Keep going. See here, I thought.
Yes,
there.
Yeah, she's holding the cleaver with the blood on it.
Oh, okay. Because it looks like it's a shot of the mum, right? And then you just see the blade.
Yeah, it looks like
go.
the mum does it, but
Well, she
But
did. Yeah, look, and she's dropped it.
I'm talking
She
about
dropped the blade.
the bottom right.
Yeah, but if you look at the
she's
panel
picking
before
up the
it,
blade after the.
She picks
Oh,
up-
okay.
yeah,
I misinterpret that then.
but I call this predator the maple leaf predator because it's got a bit of a.
on the forehead, yeah, the maple leaf.
I was calling
that.
it. I was calling it three mandible, but I like yours more.
Oh, yeah, three mandible.
So let's talk about the art.
The art.
The
So
art
good.
is fantastic.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Especially the predator art. Oh, it's
Yep.
it just on that shot there.
That,
my
that one right
God.
there, that
Oh.
full page. Oh, it's so
With
great.
the blood.
Yeah.
It's great. But yeah, Kev Walker draws a really good predator.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, artists can draw really well outright, of course. but
Right.
He just, his interpretation and just the style, it reminded me of Dark Horse Comics.
Yep.
Actually.
Definitely, I got a lot of that, and I loved the scene too with the weird aliens that just kind of attacked
Yeah.
Theta for no
Yes.
reason.
Yeah.
We should.
That was really,
Yeah.
that was really well done. I loved the expressions that he made for all of them.
And
Because they look.
go ahead, Ray. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'd say they look very docile first, but
Yeah.
they are obviously not.
And I don't think Justin's read this, but I know Ray has. This art a little bit more stylized than the art in the Marvel Alien series.
Yes.
Which is very dark and horrific and realistic, where this is more comic booky.
Yes, very comic booky. In a good way. I reckon.
In a good way, yeah. No, I thought this got off to a great start, guys.
Me too.
I'm hooked. I'm kind of like invested 100% in Theta's story. And let me run this by you because you guys are obviously old school Predator fans. I think Theta might be inspired by Machiko from Alien versus Predator.
I see the similarities, so yeah.
Yeah, I can see a little bit of that.
I mean, she's this Asian descended character that becomes a badass and starts wearing Predator armor. So it's like I kind of see where there's some similarities there, but I also have to say, like, I can kind of see where this is going too, because she's becoming what she hates.
Yeah.
She has a trophy wall.
She's killed
Right.
16 predators. That's pretty impressive. I don't think
Yeah,
Dutch can say that. Or,
No.
or Mike Harrigan. So, yeah.
17. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, 17.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. I like the pacing. Ed Brisson has set it up really, as setup issues go, really well. It's kept moving. I love bouncing between the past and the present. So we get filled in with Theta's origin straight away, but it's not just like an origin dump. It's kind of in between the present day stuff. We're left with this thing. She doesn't want to go to this particular planet or sector because of what I guess she's done there or had done there. But she has to go there because her ship is about to, park it. I loved her relationship with the
Sandy?
with Sandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the AI, because she has these abandonment issues, right? Her family, her colony are all gone. She's alone. She's only talking to this computer, which is her only kind of form of friend. And then at the end, like Sandy has to go, well, you've got to land this thing manually. See you later. We got to reserve. And she'd be freaking out. So
I can't do that, Dave.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
she foreshadows that when she's a kid, because she's talking to her mom and she's like, I don't want to talk to an AI for the rest of my
Yes.
life.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
well, she unfortunately
yeah.
has for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah. And they land on Hoth. That's all I can. That's the ice planet Hoth.
The icy
Maybe
tundra.
we'll see Predator versus a Wampa in the next.
Oh yeah. And there's a little blurb about the next issue. It says Theta crash lands on a tundra planet, and her odds of surviving are looking slim. Her only hope is to trek through the wilds to the nearest outpost, but the cold isn't the only thing she has to worry about, as a predator watches in the shadow, ready to strike. So, skull ratings, Justin?
I would give this one 4 out of 5. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a great, solid opening. Left plenty of mystery for the next 5 issues in the story, and the artwork was just amazing.
Ray?
Yeah. I'm tempted to give it a 5 as well. I'm just going to leave maybe just a little bit of wiggle room. First issue, see how it goes. It's 4.5. It's pretty high still, just because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's a really solid way to kickstart a series. Ed Brisson, I think you can tell, really likes the sandbox that he's in here, and he's relishing it. There's a definite big story to tell here. It's not something original. We've seen, solo characters and their journeys through stuff, and using the predators as a rite of
we've
passage.
seen revenge stories too about the predator. So
Yes,
but we know Theta's origin now, and we've got it all set up. So it's interesting. She's got a target now. We know that she's killing predators, but there's one in particular. So there's a lot of ways that this could go. And yeah, looking forward to it. How about yourself?
I'm giving this 4.5 too. This was almost perfect. I think the only problem I had, and it's a very minor nitpick, was some of the human faces looked a little weird to me. Some of them were great, and then some of them were like, I don't know.
like when she was a child, like some of her faces when she was a child.
Actually, her mother, some of her faces were a little weird.
Oh yeah, I think I can see what you mean. Kind of like it changed style a bit, right? Instead of very cartoony.
Yeah.
The flashbacks to when she was a child, were a little different art-wise. Yeah.
My main hope for the series is that we see some Predator POV issues.
That'll be good.
But
Yeah.
because you can do that a lot easier with a Predator than you can a Xenomorph. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like, we don't even know the motive of the Predator, why it massacred that community. Like, so there's a story behind that as well. Yeah,
right, definitely. I'm very much looking forward to it. I can't wait to see where we go from here. I hope this series lasts for a long time, and hopefully, real soon, we'll get to ask Ed about it.
Yes, definitely.
So we have one final segment before we go. It's a segment I believe Justin suggested. It's the trophy room, where we're going to show off, I guess, some Predator merchandise. Did you guys have anything to show?
I don't. Not yet.
I don't either. Not yet.
All right. Well, I'll make this special. I've had this box sitting in my room for a long time.
Oh, we're getting an unboxing.
I haven't opened it. So
nice.
I did open it enough so I could do this quickly. All right. Hello. We have the Ultimate Armored Lost Predator.
Ooh.
I don't know. You can't see it real well. Let's see.
The ultimate. Nice.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. And you can't see it from here, but there's about 100 Predators right here.
No, that's crazy.
That whole shelf is all Predators.
That whole shelf's all Predators. And you know
wow.
you know how many Xenomorph figures I have? I have one. So it's the exact opposite. It's like imagine one xenomorph versus
And
100 predators. It's like, oh. All right.
That's great. Well, we will. I'm pretty sure we will fill up our trophy room, Justin, as we go on this journey as well. I've been eyeing off a lot of those ultimate Predator figures from NECA. So the ones I'm looking at are the City Hunter, the battle damaged one. So he comes with a severed hand. We'll get into more of it as we actually obtain it. I'm really growing an obsession with Wolf. I think Wolf is the sickest Predator there is, so I wouldn't mind getting Wolf, a Wolf figure.
If only you could see him through all that darkness.
Okay, absolutely. Well, yeah.
Well, I think that wraps us up.
Yeah, should we give a preview of our next episode? What we're going to cover next time?
Yeah. So next time we obviously will be talking about Predator #2 by Ed Brisson and Kev Walker. We will also be talking about the next 3 stories from Eyes of the Demon. And we're going to be talking about Predator 1, the OG Predator.
OG.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, Russell. Sorry.
I was just going to say we're basically for the next at least 2 episodes, we're kind of just waiting until we get our hands on that Predator Omnibus. So we'll be covering at least Predator 1 and 2 before we get to some Dark Horse stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And it would be remiss without, would like to give a shout out to the Music Interpret Lab. These guys were the guys that supplied us with our intro music. So a big shout out and a thank you. And in the show notes, we'll chuck in the links to their Instagram and their YouTube channel. Check it out.
Well, did we decide on a sign off for this? Ray, you got something for me?
I thought it would have just been shit happens.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's it.
Until next time, hunters, remember that shit happens.
Shit happens.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
See ya.